I try to remember all the things Becky tells me. Hey, y'all, this is Terry Mitchell, and we're here at the DeKalb County Tournament. It's live right now. When you're watching this, it will not be live, which makes no sense whatsoever. This is Monk Blevin's fault. We are going to have some great guests tonight. My co-host, he's really the main man, Coach Butch Cassidy.
Well, thanks for the promo there of the main man.
Yeah, that should get everybody wanting to watch it.
Yeah.
Our guest tonight is Mr. Jeff Williams, a member of the DeKalb County Board of Education. Jeff, welcome. And since we've got you on here tonight, will you do my taxes more cheaply? I'm trying to make some money out of this, and it hasn't worked.
Since you put me on the spot, I don't have a choice.
Well, we appreciate your
thank you.
work at with the DeKalb County Board of Education, because I know that's a thankless job.
Yeah,
I figured all you did was maybe take a phone call every month or two and
every once
just
in a
go
while.
meet. And y'all go out and eat after you meet, don't you?
That's it. We just have a meeting and have a good time, and nobody ever calls to complain.
Go out to eat. Nobody ever asked you for a job.
No, sir.
No.
Never have.
Well, we do appreciate people like you serving on the board, because, like Terry said, it's a thankless job.
It
I
is.
know. Jeff is also president of the Hall of Fame board.
Yes, sir.
And you've done a tremendous job of that. We had Larry Hancock on last week.
Great.
And Larry was one of the co-founders, along with Coach Mitchell and Byron Shipp.
Coach Shipp.
Yeah.
Byron Shipp.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to things that's going to happen in the future with the Hall of Fame. Right now, I'm going to put you on the spot. If I didn't bring the bell, we have a bell usually. And if we ask the question you want to answer, you just hit
use
the bell. But
I could just say pass.
you could say pass. Do you have any immediate plans or future plans for the board, for the Hall of Fame
For the
board?
Hall of Fame, as far as the Hall of Fame goes, we have, and I don't think we've done a good job of publicizing it, but we have everybody that's been inducted into the Hall of Fame. We have actually a web page that has all those listed, their bios and the information about them. Much as if you've been to the Coliseum here and seen the plaques on the wall,
Right.
The same information there is actually on the website. So if you can find, I don't remember the exact address, but if you can find the Rainsville Chamber of Commerce, then there's a link on there that takes you to the website. So we're pretty excited about that, to have everybody
that's great.
Yeah, we
out
need
there
to
on
we
there.
need to look at that.
Yeah.
We need to get them to put a link to the Butch and Terry show. Would they pay us anything?
You might have to pay them to get that done. I don't know.
It's really funny. Two of our favorite people in the world were the persons of the year in Rainsville, Bill and Judy Ayers.
Right.
I've nominated Bill and Judy Ayers for 3 years.
Really.
Yes, and they would say, we can't have but one of them. I said, I'm not splitting them up. You can't do it. So this year they called me. I didn't even nominate them, so both of them make it.
Wow.
I just love it that I have so much influence in my community.
That's
By the way,
great.
don't ever nominate me.
No, yeah, I won't nominate you. Don't nominate me. And I told Bill the other night, I said, did they tell you about the parade? Now he's scared to death that you'll have to be in a float.
Right. He'll have to be the master of ceremonies, get to lead the parade
Yes.
next year. Yeah, they're a great couple, and I was able to be at the banquet this past week and the induction ceremony, and they've done a lot for our community.
Oh, my goodness.
A lot for Plainview, and thank you is just not.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
not adequate.
You won't find two better people
No.
than Bill and Judy Ayers.
I agree.
I've known Bill since we were in college, and he's not a bit different now than he was then.
Yeah.
He still looks the same.
He does. He does. He doesn't look like he's aged to be.
I like the fact he retired from Plainview. And I told him one day, I said, Bill, you're spending as many hours up here when you're, he said, yeah, but I can go to the room I want to.
That's right.
So, but it's good. Jeff, tell us about when is the next class that will go into the Hall of Fame?
Actually the class should have been 2016 class, but we did not we didn't get the process rolling quick enough to make that happen. So 2017 will be the year. Sometime later this year, we'll begin taking nominations and evaluating those, and then get the class ready to
If you've
induct.
ever been nominated in the hall, does it stay active, or does it have to be renominated?
It stays active for 5 years.
Okay.
You don't have to be renominated. You're actually automatically on the ballot
For the next
for 5 years.
Okay.
If you're not inducted or elected in during that time frame, then you can be nominated again.
Renominated, okay.
Well, that's good. How many members now do we have on the board? I'm on the board, and I can't even remember myself.
We have kind of iffy on that, but somewhere either 14 or 15.
That's what I was thinking. Well, another thing that being on the Board of Education, I'm going to ask you some deep political questions here. Now, I have been real pleased to see the new superintendent and all the board members here at the county tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I really appreciate all of you effort doing this, because I think it shows support for all these kids and the schools. And I think that's a great thing. You take your time and do something like this.
Well, that's something that I feel is, if you want to say, part of the job.
Yeah.
Something that I should do. But I do. I'm excited to be here and see the teams involved in the process, and to be able to support them, and not
Hey,
only
boys,
just,
we're on
not
TV,
only
go
just
away.
basketball, but the other sports as well.
We're having a little confusion
Hunker
on
down and
people
crawl.
trying to slip in, I think. But
I'm not lying. Hunker down and crawl under the camera. Lower. Let's go, girl. Title IX, you have to do it. All right, run. Run.
There's nothing like doing
That
a
was
show
great.
at the Civic Center.
That's impressive. That's pretty good.
I'm sorry I interrupted.
Oh, that's
that.
okay.
I couldn't leave it alone.
Well,
But
he did a great job explaining why he's here and why he feels like he should be here.
The Hall of Fame, one of my friends called me the other day. Coach Coker's dad is in the Hall of Fame. A photographer. And a friend of mine, Ronald Griffin, called me and got to naming, he's got some kind of photographic memory, people over the last 50 or 60 years who had not been players, and in some cases not even been coaches.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of folks out there, and I'm so proud to see. I didn't know that Gary Coker was in the Hall of Fame, but he's been to every game that it's ever been played.
Mr. Brown, I can't think of his first name, from Fort Payne, that was an announcer and wrote for the newspapers. We put him in about 3 or 4 years ago. He owned Brown's Cleaners down there.
Yeah.
But he was another one that never played.
I think that is so
and Larry
important.
Hancock that you had on.
Yep.
Larry, because of his broadcasting and all he's done over the years.
Did so many things for it. We look forward to the it's like being shot. You stop for the
deer in the headlights.
Yeah. The camera has seen me make these horrible faces every now and then because I'm getting signals from the bleachers that tell me what the score is. So I make no bones about it. I'm a Plainview
33,
fan.
35.
I'm trying to find that score now.
We're up 2. Plainview's up 2.
Plainview's up 2.
I shouldn't have said we. Should I?
Yeah, we need to have somebody on there that is neutral.
Yeah.
I did forget completely what I was going to say, because I don't know how those sportscasters do it at the NCAA. There's so many people walking around us here, and it's hard to keep your
and
mind.
at the same time, those guys have feedback in their earpiece that they're listening to instructions, plus they're talking, and they're doing 2 things at once. That's a little bit of a challenge.
One good thing about me being hard of hearing, I can't hear things Terry say.
Of course, I love Dabo Sweeney, but I didn't watch the presentation national championship. One, because John Saunders wasn't there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, bless his heart.
because some of we attach things, and we've done that here in DeKalb County. These 4 guys that are sitting over to our left has been to every ball game. I reckon it's been here the past 35 years.
Yeah. Well, Jeff, can you just give us a little bit of a broad outlook for the Board of Education, what the plans in the future?
Well, Dr. Barnett, our first board meeting was last week, and his first board meeting. And he laid out an executive plan of what he wants to do this year. And at the same time, the board, we presented our action plan for 2017.
Okay.
And we've got 3 or 4 things that we're kind of focusing on this year. First and foremost is school security. You know, our campuses are so spread out, and each one is so different. And we want to analyze those and determine how we can best secure the campus,
right,
and protect our students the best. So we're gonna focus on that, and we're gonna spend some time on some long range planning. We're gonna get somebody to come in and help us with that. You know as well as being a superintendent before, that you have to give the 5-year plan to the State Department of Education every year. We're looking beyond the 5-year plan. We have schools and facilities that are really in bad situation. I mean, as far as their condition. And that's not to say that they're not well taken care of. They're just old. And we know that's coming.
And it's hard to fix old.
It is. It is. And that's going to take a lot of money.
To plan for that?
Well, what we want to do is maybe get a 15 or 20 year plan. We want to know where the demographics are going to be the biggest growth.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some things we can do with transportation to reduce cost.
Yeah.
We need somebody who specializes in that kind of thing to come and tell us, and not write the plan for us, but just present to us, okay, here's what we think, and then we can take that and adapt that to how we best think it fits.
Yeah.
And that way we're not, this year all of a sudden we don't have somewhere we need to add 2 classrooms or 4 classrooms.
Yeah.
That drains you.
Yes.
So we want to plan for that.
Right.
Hey, for example, in our system over the last 10 years, what do you think's the fastest growing school?
I would say Crossville.
I'd say Crossville.
Most people. But it's Collinsville.
Collinsville.
Numbers-wise, percentage-wise, Collinsville has the greatest growth.
Well, I wouldn't have thought
and that's
about
probably going to continue.
Yeah.
So nobody thinks about that. And so, every 2 years we're looking at all of a sudden now we need some more classroom space at Collinsville. Well, let's look at that long range. And if we got to build 4 classrooms now and maybe 5 years from now we need 4 more, maybe it's much more financially responsible and being wise with our money, go ahead and do those now.
I'm glad to hear that, because the way we've been doing is a Band-Aid effect.
Right.
Yeah.
If we need 3, we build 3.
Right.
And then 2 years
2
later,
years
like
later,
you say,
you
we
need some more.
Yeah. And it's a whole lot easier to build 6
Right.
at one time than it is 3 and then 3.
Exactly.
And I'm glad to see y'all looking ahead.
And that's
like
what
that.
we're looking at.
Yeah.
And I'm not good enough, and in the board we realize that that's not our expertise. We're going to invite some system planners. They're called system planners.
Yeah.
To come in and tell us what they can do and what they're able to do. And hopefully we're going to make a decision on one of those and let them spend some time in our system from one end to the other and help us to make some plans.
Well, I think that's a great plan there.
So that's kind of what we've got going on this year. Technology's always, in the last few years, that's a big transition. Right. We have some teachers who are not comfortable with that. Of course, you younger teachers coming out of school that you're hiring, they're all for it and pushing it. So we've got that gap, and so we're working on making that transition as easy as possible and spending the time we need to get everybody up to speed.
The technology was just beginning to come in.
Right.
And I was one of those you were talking about. I was a little reluctant, but after I got into it, I saw what a great advantage it was,
Yeah.
and I promoted it for the school. But I was a little reluctant.
Sure.
It's a little bit afraid
It's
of the
intimidating.
unknown, you know.
It really
And,
is. And
And
we want to have our technology department, if you want to call it hand holding or whatever you want to call it, that we have them available to help those,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
everybody in our system transition into that as quickly and as efficiently as
Well,
possible.
one thing that really worries me, and it has since I was principal, is security.
Yeah.
We're in a great area,
Right.
but that doesn't mean something bad can't happen here.
Exactly.
And the whole time I was a principal, that was the biggest fear I had of somebody coming in the building.
Yeah.
And you know, we locked the doors, but
Sure.
I mean, we had Chip as SRO. He had one bullet. So we let him have. So
Well, it's with our campuses the way they are. It's a huge challenge.
yeah.
But we've got to do that, and that's something, you know, we don't think where we live, we don't think
No.
something's going to happen here, anything's going to happen, but it may very well. I'm
People
the
in
kind of
Sandy
person,
Hook didn't think of
I
that
want
either.
to be prepared when it happens instead of trying to react after
Right.
it does.
I think that's great.
So that's kind of our goal for this year. We're not going to get, we're not by any means, we're not going to get security
Oh.
knocked out and taken care of this year, but we
No.
hope to get well underway and get that in place.
Well, you know, there's only so much you can do
Right.
as far as security, and then you just gotta hope you're lucky, you know. So
Are
That's
there
it.
federal guidelines on how you build your new schools? Or state guidelines that about safety?
Yeah, as far as maybe not so much as far as what we would think locks and security and that kind of thing. When you do new construction now, you have to the classrooms have to be safe rooms. So anytime you do any significant construction, you got to build it to safe room specs. Well, you should be able to figure out right away. That's a lot more expensive, and that's the thing.
my goodness, yeah.
Back to the long range planning. You know, we need a plan and an idea of where we're going to go, because when you start building those additions, they're more expensive now than they were 5 years ago because of that requirement. Not to mention that the cost of everything continues to increase.
And then add a lunchroom or two, and you've really got it, haven't you?
Good stuff. You're right.
Well, Jeff, we sure do appreciate you
Hey,
being with
that's
us.
great.
And-
Appreciate you having me.
And you keep
I'll-
doing a good job on that
I'll
board.
I'll be famous now. I've been on
The Butcher
been on
Terry
the
show.
Butcher
my
Terry
goodness.
show.
What else could a man want?
Life
I
is
mean, you have
good.
hit the big time.
I can hang it up now.
Yeah.
I've reached the pinnacle.
Thank
Thank you guys. I appreciate
We
it.
appreciate you coming on.
We're going to be right back with Coach Tracy Hogan. If we drag him out of the stands right now, he's shaking his head no. And
I
looking
think
at
he's
his
eating
phone.
peanuts right now. But
Is what?
eating peanuts. Up
Yeah,
there
he's
right
eating
now.
peanuts, not paying any attention.
Okay, we're back. We're still at the Civic Center. The girls' finals of the county tournament going on, and we have a very special guest with us tonight, Coach Tracy Hogan. Coach, we did a show together earlier in the year, and it was our highest-rated show. And I don't know if it was because you were on it or because Terry
Coach Mitchell
wasn't.
I get no sympathy.
I've got something I want to show here, and the reason I want to do it right now, I think it really pertains to Tracy. It says, one coach will impact more people in a season than an average person will in a lifetime. And I think, coaches really need to think about that when they're out there on the floor, when they're around kids. And one of your former players, Robbie Coker, I showed this to him, and I said, Robbie, you need to remember this. He said, the best quote I ever remember was my daddy. He told me, you're on the B team for a reason.
I would have been on the B team as a senior if it had been legal.
Well, I'm very honored that two of the Plainview coaches I had the opportunity to coach back at Crossville, and Coach Coker, varsity coach, and the JV B team coach, Coach Williams, and Coach Williams and his squad pulled out a
Boy, they do.
good win earlier this evening with a 3-point shot at the buzzer. So proud of both of those young men. And yes, I've been fortunate and had several former players that have gotten into coaching and follow them in their endeavors. But Coach Coker and Coach Williams are doing a fantastic job. And that quote is one that I've heard, and I think actually it came from Billy Graham.
Oh.
And that's something the FCA uses. The Fellowship of Christian Athletes use that quote a good bit. And they reference it to the Reverend Billy Graham, saying that, coaches sometimes do have more of a chance to have an impact on young people than maybe even other professions. So it's, it's been an honor to have that opportunity over the course of years.
Well, as 3 old coaches here, we know what it means when a kid comes back to us and says thank you for what you did for me, or just shake your hand and say appreciate it.
Right.
So all you people out there, the next time you see your old coach, go up and shake their hand and tell them that you love them and how much they do appreciate. You appreciate what they did for you.
I was telling somebody earlier that when you've been in it 30-something years and these new phones have a way that you can group your phone numbers. Well, when you get to the point we're at, your friend group is not very long, but the two groups that have more numbers than any of them are, unfortunately, doctors and former players, and definitely former players mean more to us than
right.
I pulled up. I was talking to a coach the other day that was extremely happy, and that just as soon as I got off the phone, I was talking a coach out of suicide, and I pulled up and at a construction place, and 2 carpenters came out to talk to me, and I kept doing like this and shaking my head, and they kept doing like this, and I finally, when I got out, I said, look, I was trying to talk a coach out of suicide. I said, this time of year that you're either one of 2 things. You're suicidal or you're way up here. So, but you're right. I got a text from one of my boys that played on the 85 team today. His son has got 2 Division II offers, and he's hoping to get a Division I. And I keep telling them it's going to be a lot more fun playing at a Division II than it is watching at a Division I. He's a good player. And I wanted to ask you, though, before, tell me who your coaches were from the 7th grade up at Crossville.
7th grade, I believe, was Herman Bittinger. Coach Bittinger, I think he passed away maybe a year ago or last summer, and he was playing golf up into his mid-80s. And then I think, of course, Coach Colvin, Kelly Colvin was my 8th grade coach, and 9th grade coach was Mr. Uptain, the principal, Coach Uptain, who's now the principal at Cross, came in my 9th grade year. And I had him for a couple years, and then Coach Kelly Colvin. So was able to stay in and still stay in contact with former coaches. And
Kelly Colvin was a super coach, but he is one of the funniest characters that it's ever been. And I don't even know if he knows he's funny. But we had, and my goal is to do this to Ed Pope, but you'd have to arrest him and bring him. But Collinsville did a roast for Coach Dobbins.
Yeah.
2 or 3 years before he passed away, and Kelly and I were speakers there, and Kelly Colvin had me. I was about sick from laughing before I got up there, and it was really, really special night. And I would just really love to do that to Ed Pope, because I coached with him for 2 years, and I'm thinking about just writing a book off those 2 years.
Before we came up here, I talked to Ed. I said, Ed, we want you to come up and be on the show with us. He said, "You can't drag me up there."
Isn't that
he
funny?
said, "There is no way I'm going to be on that show."
But he'll put you up to something.
Oh,
I
yeah.
guarantee you. Yeah, you'll be in a meeting. And I used to ride to coaches' meetings with Ed, and Ed'd say, you know, we need to vote on closing the back doors of the Civic Center during the county tournament. I said, you're right, we do. He said, will you bring that up? And I said, yeah. I'd bring it up, and Ed would vote against it. I said, Ed, what you tell me coming up here? He said, I just want to get an argument started. Well, it worked, you know.
Well, Coach, have you? Is this your first game to go to this year?
The tournament, it is. I saw a Christmas tournament game, and I also went out last Monday night and saw Plainview play Madison Academy.
Oh, well, I was over there. I didn't see you there.
Huh? That was a good game,
Yeah.
and that should be a game that helps Plainview down the stretch. And
I think it will.
But this is the first night out at the county tournament, and so it feels good to be here and not have lost a game. I assure you that.
Well, the thing about it, after you once quit coaching, you never lose again.
You're right.
And as time goes by, all your victories were a little bit better. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I'm so good in high school now, I made all county.
I tell those girls that I coach at Pisgah, we meet every so often, and I tell them every time we meet, we get a little bit better.
When
we
you're
do.
undefeated, that's about as good as you can get.
Yeah, but we didn't even come. Nobody came close to us now the way we talk. But it'll get easier to come and watch games as you get over it. But Coach Mitchell and I both agree. You need to get back in coaching.
Yeah,
you're too
we
good
voted.
a coach. Yeah, we voted. So you're voted
It's
in.
definitely 2-0 here.
I don't know, but I definitely like the fact that I hadn't lost a game this season. That's for sure. That is by
Been a
far
while.
the best part of it.
How many county tournaments did you win in a row, or your teams?
Gee.
6.
I know
that I counted.
I know we lost. I remember the finals that we lost, 1996 to Plainview. Boy, that stuck for about 30-something years. Maybe 2001, 2002 were runner-ups. It seemed like we were fortunate that we had a chance to win maybe six, or, and maybe a total of 8
Probably
or
was in the
something.
finals about, 10 out of 14 years there.
Something like that.
That's unbelievable. That was really and if you'd had a new gym, it probably messed you up so bad. And I saw Mr. Uptain a while ago, and he said I had to come down and look at the gym. And I thought it was pretty nice of Coach Jonas when they were opening the new gym. He said, I just wish Coach, I know your name, could have played. Coach Hogan could have played some here, because I remember how hard you worked to keep that old gym, and somehow I hope the community is able to save that old gym.
Right.
I mean, we're too easy to tear those things down, and I remember the Civic Center 1981. We thought 2011 was completely out of sight of ever paying for it, and now that's not a very long time. We use some of these gyms since the 30s. If you ever go to Berry College, they got the most beautiful gym. It was built during the Depression era, and I hate to see us lose those.
Well, now, Tracy, along with a lot of help from other people like the Colvins, redid that gym. And what year did you do the inside?
That was the summer 1998.
Yeah. I
remember
I was still there.
Borrowing money to
We borrowed and signed notes for it. It's a different day than it is now.
Yeah.
That's for sure. We signed a note for $60,000.
60,000.
And had a few in the community sign off on that. And along in that time, even after we remodeled the gym, we were pushing for a new gym and trying to come up plans for a new gym. And it got to the point that we were seemed like we were treading in water. And the boys and the players would say, Coach, we don't want a new gym.
Yeah.
And I stopped talking it up because, the players love playing in our gym.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
I
like the results in that gym.
You
we
had
shot it better. And we had a pretty good winning percentage in that game. Jim. But
the old gym here at Plainview, I mean, it was really a high school sized gym. You probably played in it junior high. And when we, the second year I was here, finally, I got smart enough to realize it was a real asset to press people because you didn't even have to guard the goal because nobody could see. It was so close. And, of course, I know it makes kids mad, but my best friend, who I hope is still, besides Butch, man, I'm not messed up there. My best friend from high school, Bill Dixon, is building my wife's new house in my new shop.
Oh.
And Bill and I were talking about the gyms that we played in as kids, and the pot-belly stove that was at the end, and one of our friends saw he was going to hit it, so he stopped himself. Needless to say, he didn't play anymore that night. He burned both hands, keeping that warm.
That's how the original gym at Crossville burned. I've heard Tommy Griffin's told me that story. Billy Joe Russell was a player on the team, and they had snuck in the gym during the Christmas holidays, and a basketball hit that old potbelly stove and knocked it over. And
they ran?
And they ran.
I don't blame them.
That's the same group I know. Yeah.
Where was the old gym? Is it where the other?
The gym that burnt was where the old field house between the old gym and the football bleachers were.
Okay.
That's where it was.
I never go by. Of course, our old gym here at Plainview burned. I mean, got blown away in the 2011 storm. But I always remember the guys that were my age, Ricky Etherton being the leader of the group. They always helped themselves on Sunday afternoon to shoot, which Mr. Kirk kind of turned the other way. But then it got to missing stuff, and they had got to rolling the popcorn machine out into the gym, and they popped popcorn the entire time. So finally he had to come over and cut it out one day. But they're great stories about, I'm one of those people that think you need to go into communities and to build community centers as opposed to horse rinks. So that doesn't make me very popular in a lot of areas like this one. And if I made everybody mad so far in Rainsville, if there's anybody I skipped.
If not, right on the list there that you can show us who Terry needs to talk about next.
That'd be Terry at rebound.com.
If you don't mind, let me mention this. Over the course of my career, I had a chance to play in 4 different county tournaments. And I used to tell our players this all the time, and anybody that would listen, that the DeKalb County tournament is something special.
Mm-hmm.
It is. The teams have taken turns over the years having a little run and an opportunity to try to win the county tournament. There's still a lot of community pride, and of course over the years going to different county tournaments to scout, I can say with a little pride that DeKalb County tournament is the best in the state of Alabama. And that doesn't just include the hospitality room.
Yeah, we got great hospitality. Last year when we were talking about it, I called the state, and I think we still have 33 county tournaments going on, but they know it at the state. And I'm sure they know it because they get their percentage.
Yeah,
of
they get
income.
their money from it.
I've always thought, with a few exceptions, the Final 4 semifinals of the county tournament, any team could win it. And you would seldom see a game that was more than 10 points. And it may be a team that one team's better, 30 points better, but they might win by 3 and they could get beat.
Right.
I'm like y'all, I'm selfish, but the only tournament that compares to the DeKalb County tournament is the Huntsville Times Classic that's played every year early in the season over there, that has nothing but huge schools, and it is in a basketball town. But DeKalb County is still like it was when we were kids. I mean, it's just great.
And I don't think it's going to change. There's as much interest in it right now as there's ever been, I think.
It was difficult, and I don't care to tell y'all that we couldn't get the tournament here at the Civic Center, and I talked. Sorry, but I don't care. This is a good time for these people and the superintendent to hear it. I finally got him
I'm
to.
not a part of this.
Butch is out of it. I talked him into giving the host school all the money, and once I got him to give the host school all the money, that principal would say, "Wait a minute! I don't care what these coaches say. We're going to play it at the Civic Center." And I don't know why they didn't want to. I'll be honest with you. I thought it was the dumbest thing I ever heard. But when you went from making $5,000 a year in the 70s to making $15,000, it was stupid not to bring it here. And finally, Ed Pope told me one time, he said, "You know, the Civic Center really hurt your team." And I said, "I know, because we depended on quickness, and we played on a rubber floor here for so long.
Yeah.
Those are not conducive to quick teams. And the wood floor helped us a lot after we got it. And but it's we finally had sense enough to overcome some whatever and play that here. And I just think that people all over the state. Now, Coach Doss, when I get home tonight, he'll text me, want to know how the county tournament over here. He's never been to one of these county tournaments, but he wants to know who won it.
Usually I talk about you played on a rubber floor here. You remember the rubber floor we had when I was at Fort Payne?
Oh, yeah, Florida.
It was rough.
Yeah.
It had little spots in it. Boy, you'd burn up a pair of tennis shoes in about 3 games, and you wouldn't dive on the floor but one time to get a ball because you'd leave your skin. But now your floor was smooth.
Yeah, we had a poured floor.
Yeah.
And it was actually kind of like a Bondo thing with rubber, and they poured it down and then smoothed it out.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the building wasn't built properly, and we had to put another one down and then another one, and it got to be quite a job. I just love the job of the Civic Center director for those 20 years. Every time I go by, I say, "Oh, I miss that so much." About like I missed the flu.
Well, Plainview just won the county and the girls by a score of 61-43.
61-43.
They pulled out
Close
right
early,
towards the end.
Plainview is still undefeated, and they won 22 games?
22 or this may be 23 tonight.
I've never heard of a girls team since yours. It's been undefeated that long.
You know, I was talking to Heather before we started. She said her kids are starting to get a little tight, but you know, I told her, I said, you know, a loss won't hurt you right now. But of course, she's like me; she didn't want to lose. She said, "I can't get them to focus like I was focused." I said, "Heather, nobody can focus like you were focused." But Coach, have you got any plans for the future? Are you going to keep teaching? Or?
Do Butch and I need to be talking to people?
Yeah.
I'm just going to play it by ear.
We could get you a job for a percentage of the stuff.
Yeah, we got to find a way to make some money out of this show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, they're paying us $1,000 a show, and that's just not going to cut it.
If they were paying us $1,000 a show,
the
I'd be here
sponsorship has to be good.
Oh, we have Bobby Ledbetter. We would like a courtesy car, Bobby.
Yeah, Bobby Ledbetter. I love Bobby Ledbetter. Thank you for being here, Coach.
Enjoyed
we
it.
love you, and want you to come back.
Sure will.
Thank you.
We appreciate all you did at Cross. Okay, we're back at the Civic Center with right now Geraldine and Plainview are just starting. It's in the finals. If we can get Coach Mitchell to put his phone down, quit texting, we will. Oh, go ahead, Coach.
I've got my phone doing a selfie, and I can see the scoreboard if I hold it like that.
Yeah.
He needs a selfie stick.
Well, we have a special guest with us, Dr. Jason Barnett, Superintendent of Education, DeKalb County Schools. Dr. Barnett, it's good to have you.
Good to be with you, Butch. You too, Coach Mitchell.
You're welcome. I'm kind of here.
I've had a lot of students paying attention about like you. I used to be your student paying attention about like that.
Yeah. You know, I never did understand, and the show's just like, you could go over 12 important history dates to do, and then I could tell one story. Everybody in school would know that story by the afternoon. Nobody knew any date I just went over.
No.
I just told Butch, I didn't know it. This is worse than usual. They use camels a lot in the Old West.
Sure.
Cattle drives. Nobody knows that. You know, that was in my history class. Nobody knows it, but he watched Gunsmoke. That's how Chester broke his leg. See, nobody knows stuff like that. You tune into this and you know it. Brought to you by Bobby Ledbetter.
There you go, Twin City Auto.
I also know that a giraffe's neck weighs 500 pounds.
It does.
Terry told me that.
There you go.
I posted that on Facebook the other night.
Wisdom coming every day right here.
Well, this is probably the most the superintendent of education has ever been humiliated in public.
Well, you know, I'd rather start this way than over the next few years I may gradually, come on the show a little less.
Yeah. Hey, we did talk. We had actually some serious time with Jeff.
Yeah.
And I found it really encouraging. One of my students is an information person for an organization.
Yeah.
And she puts out constantly a press release each day.
Sure.
And I thought about this when Jeff was talking. He explained to me what the board is going to try to do about building, and looking at 20 years down the road.
Right.
As many ways as we have, and our president's doing it, and I appreciate it, especially since I heard some idiot say that was the most racist speech you'd ever heard of. And I said, racist, But if people know, what we're doing,
right.
And as many ways to communicate as we have, and you did a great job the first night when you told everybody why we were out for school. And that means so much. But I believe if people understand this is our plan and this is how we're going through, they really appreciate that.
Well, it's very important to communicate, like you said. Most time the misunderstandings are because people don't understand necessarily why you're doing it. And once you explain why you're doing it, it helps a lot of ways. We've tried to keep people informed through I've got a Facebook page for Jason Barnett, the DeKalb County Superintendent. You can search it online. The DeKalb County Schools Facebook page. I'm on Twitter. We're fixing to look at upgrading our websites, and for not only for the district, but every local school to help make that more information available. With Mountain Valley News and Farmers Telephone Cooperative, we're going to try to do some things periodically to get information going out there. The new website that we have on our system that we're looking at, we're going to put live videos out there and pre-recorded videos. So we definitely realize that expressing what we're doing and a little bit of why we're doing it can go a long ways in public, the goodwill of the public, people understanding that you got a plan and why you're doing it. And so that's very important.
Yeah. Well, I enjoyed. Jeff answered a lot of questions.
Yeah.
But, coaches, if it's left up to us, we wouldn't build anything but gyms, weight rooms, and field houses.
Right, exactly.
And it usually falls. I remember coming to Plainview in 1973, and we were in a constant building program since then. And you have to really plan.
Yeah.
And one of the complaints I always had is if the state or the county built anything, the people who were using it had very little input.
Right.
I was at I did some contract work for a school one time, and I was actually complaining to them. They had a beautiful facility, and I said, this is the most oddly put together facility I've ever seen. Well, come to find out, they'd fired all the coaches that year, and one of the English teachers came down and designed the gym. Well, and that didn't work well.
A lot of times what happened is you end up living in it and your neighbor built a house.
Yeah.
Your neighbor built a house, but you got to live in it.
Yeah.
And so, if you're going to live in the house, you want a little bit of say on where the bathroom is and where everything else, whatever. So
need to know where the locks are.
Right. Yeah. What you're saying is people that designed need to have been there.
Yeah.
Done that. When I was at Crossville, we were going to build a new science lab.
Sure.
Well, the guy that designed it had never been in a science lab in his life. He had 3 lab tables. I said, you can't have a science lab with 3 tables.
No.
I said, what are you going to do with the other kids? He said, well, leave them in the main classroom while you. But, you're asking for trouble.
You got gas, fire, and water in the lab, and you're gonna leave it. you got,
So,
And
you know,
4 15-year-old boys.
Yeah.
people that know what's going on need to be the ones in charge of
absolutely.
this. And Jeff was talking about your going to plan ahead as far as classrooms if you need to. Going to look at the possibility of building 4.
Right.
Because
Well,
a few years down the road, you're going to need them.
Yeah, you got to look at what's happened over the last few years, what the most recent trends are, what you anticipate future trends, and then you got to have some cushion there. You know, because we've built many classrooms, and like I said, you build 2, and when you really needed 4, and per classroom average, it's a whole lot easier to add those couple extra while you're doing some construction than it is, come back later on and have to redo it.
Probably cut your cost a third or so.
Oh, a lot, yeah. Definitely.
We like what you're doing so far. I was telling Jeff, I was real happy to see you and the board, or most of the board here.
Right.
And I think that really bodes well with the people, that they see you're
I
interested.
think it does. And I tell you, I've worked now with this board. Of course, I've known a lot of the board members for many years, but since I've been on the job just 3 weeks now, I tell you, I've really worked with these guys. I think they have a heart for what they're doing, a real passion for what they're doing. They want good things for our schools, and I'm excited about working with them. There's going to be times we're going to disagree on things, but I believe everybody on that board and myself are coming from a place of trying to do what's right. And as long as I know you got the best interest of the kids in our district in your mind, I can disagree amicably. Mr. Elliott, he was here last night. He's not able to be here tonight. Some things come up, and he wasn't able to be here, but he wanted to be here. But he wasn't able to be here tonight. But, it is exciting to see everybody come out here. And I don't know if you guys saw it when you come in.
Yeah, we did.
The booths we got outside.
Those kids are excited.
They were. It was really good. And I've had so many compliments about bringing the academics to the athletic event here where people can see the Bear Theater, the robotics, the medical science programs, the just the agribusiness programs. The Beta Club stuff, everything that all these schools brought. It was really, really, it was good. It was positive. The kids were excited.
We all stood here and looked at each other thinking Monk was going to show us something. This is probably the poorest operation that's ever been put into.
But, the production value may be what it is, but the content is on a higher level.
High level. Yeah.
Your expectations.
We just have to work with who we have.
Yeah.
And you want to come back.
I heard a rumor that you told the principals that you had just come from the hardest interview you'd ever been to when you did our show.
I did. I said that's you can search the internet for a list of questions for almost every interview. Y'all's wasn't any of those questions.
That may be because ours really weren't good questions.
The one mistake we've made tonight is not putting a camera over where people try to walk in front of us and they realize there's a camera here and they go, that would be the best show we could do.
I keep waiting for? Scott to come up here with a 31.
If he thinks about it, he will.
If you tuned in last Thursday, you'd have got that.
Plainview's behind 10, and
Actually, she must have gone to Plainview. That's 9.
9.
I thought math, so I can figure that
You can figure it out.
Yeah. Minute 5 left in the first period. Plainview's down by,
So these people are watching us tonight already know what happened. They're wondering why we're so anxious about the situation.
Yeah, they can see behind us. They kind of know what's going on.
I've been getting texts all night wanting to know how they can find us live. Well, we didn't have enough Wi-Fi power to do that. And because Monk Blevins is too cheap to buy small Wi-Fi power.
Well, he told me he's spending all the money on salaries.
Yeah. That boy's making some cash. Yeah.
Very expensive, if not for salaries and legal costs, right?
We have a lawyer on
the suits that we're going to break.
Yeah, mostly legal costs.
Well, tell the board that one night when they want to have an executive session, I just like to come back for old time's sake. And,
we're going to get the band back together.
yeah, we're going to get the band back together one more row.
Yeah, there you go.
I was so humble then I could be outspoken this time.
There you go.
Well, actually, I wasn't humble then either, so it don't matter. But we appreciate you coming.
Hey, I appreciate
we
y'all
look forward
having
to
me.
seeing you sport next year. Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you.
Good to see you.
Good to see you,
Thank
Coach.
you.
Y'all take care.
We are back at the Butch and Terry show, and it just added a lot of beauty. And this is the baby girl. This is the baby girl of Roger Graham and Ginger. And both of them, can you sing?
I'm more of a backup singer.
You're more of a backup singer?
I am.
Mom and Dad can sing.
They
I was
can.
just asking, y'all remember Coach Graham coaching at Sylvania for so long, and his wife, Annis's brother was one of my best friends growing up. And I was asking him how many grandchildren Annis and Clinton had. Said they only had 12, but they had 13 if you counted that Gabe was married to Brittany. And I said, I'd rather count Brittany as I had Gabe.
And I had to agree.
Yeah, so we did. But it's a miracle that, that two grandchildren are playing on the same team and y'all have as good a teams as you do.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's getting toward the end of the year, and y'all got to start playing loose.
We do.
And that's really important, is to continue playing as loose. And it's wonderful to see a team that has no selfishness in them. They're not interested in who scores or who doesn't.
That's a big part I love about our team, is that we're all just together.
You know, I've never seen a selfish team win big.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen some win.
Yeah,
I've never seen, and that a selfish team, an unselfish team, sometimes may have someone that averages 35 points, but they're still very unselfish.
Ours switch up too. Like, we'll have a high scorer one game and then another one the next.
That's
so it's
true.
not, we have a big area where everybody just scores.
Tell me about growing up in a family as large as yours, and athletics being very important.
I guess we kind of grew up with athletics. Like, I was at every game. I watched you coach, and I've always just been everywhere with basketball. I've played since I was 3 years old. So whenever you look up to your siblings who are so much older and you see their success, and as competitive as I am, I just want to beat their success.
Yeah.
So every time I go out there, I'm kind of like, this is how I'm going to play, and this is what I'm going to do. And it's going to be for your team, because if you have a big family like that, you kind of have to be team-like whenever you do, like, chores or something. So that's been good growing up, and always having competitive, like, being competitive with each other, but always caring for each other. And, like, I always come back and I have 7 coaches that talk to me after every game, what I should do, what I shouldn't do. And that's just a big part about being in that family. And it helps that I was the baby and got coached all these years.
Well, I'm just proud you made it through it. Also, having a friend like Dennis Hicks when you were a kid, that's kind of mark a person, overcoming something like that is big.
Oh, he's great.
I have really enjoyed watching you play.
Thank you.
The first time I saw you play, I'll never forget this. Somebody beat you off the dribble. You went down and took the ball away from them before they got to the goal. I said, that girl's got something special. and you do. I love to watch the way you share the ball, the way you get everybody involved. And I think a lot of your team's success comes from people like you that, like you said, you're a competitor and you compete constantly. Now, let's get down to some of the nitty-gritty. Coach Powell, what does she tell y'all in the dressing room before you come out?
Well, she always tries to get us focused, and it's different every time. But moving away last year and coming back, I've learned that every word that comes out of her mouth is remarkable. You can have some coaches that talk to you, and you're like, what in the crap are they talking about, And every time
I was one of them.
she can talk about, like, one game, she talked about going to battle and how everyone has to have each other's back. And she used that, and she named, like, every different department of the Army or, like, the Navy, and she named what they did and their roles. And she said, everybody has a different role. And the big thing is, like, we've all figured out our roles, and it's because of her. It's nothing we've done. She's helped lead us into our roles, and she's built me up since I was in 7th grade. I remember the first Pee Wee game, she came to watch me play. And, like, she was always there, and she's helped me so much with that. And when she talks to you in the dressing room, it's just like everybody's silent. I mean, we're goofy, but when she talks, you want to take in every word.
But she told me tonight, I said, "Have you got them ready to play, Coach?" She said, "I don't ever know." She said, they're sort of goofy sometimes. And said, "You know, they don't focus like I did." And I said, "Well, Coach Mays, nobody focused like you did."
No.
You know? But, of course, you never saw her play, but now she played like she coaches.
Yes.
Everything she had, she put into it. And I see a lot of her in y'all out there. And that's a compliment that you do that you can play like her. But congratulations on making the MVP.
Thank you.
I know your pawpaw was real proud of you.
Yes, sir.
I asked him one night, whether the Sand Mountain tournament, I said, "Coach Graham, is it harder to watch your grandkids play or to coach?" He said, "There's no comparison." And I can understand that. But congratulations.
Thank you.
And I hope y'all do real well the rest of the season.
Thank you. Me too.
Stay focused.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well,
what you started.
Oh, okay. we're back with the Bush and Terry Show. We have one of our favorite interviewees on, Lacey Kurt. Congratulations on making All County, and I thought you just played a great game along with all your teammates. I thought all of you played great.
I appreciate it. I mean, we talk about it all the time how blessed we are because we have such a great team, and it takes every single one of us. We have a strong starting five, but if we get in foul trouble or it's just not their day, we have people on the bench that can come in and assist doing their job. And I think that's what makes us strong is because it doesn't, it's not just a couple of people, it's everyone.
Well, we talked to Olivia, and she had basically the same thing to say about your team chemistry and how all of you try to share. Obviously, Plainview's making a run right now.
I hope so.
But one thing I noticed about your team, and of course, I go back a long ways. I remember Coach Powell. Go catch up here. We may have had you on the wrong time. But what I remember about Coach Powell when she played with such intensity. And your team seems to take on her personality.
Oh, yeah. We work on that every day. It's if you're not intense, you're going to run until you decide to be intense. I think one day, you see how high these doors up in this building. So we've had to run them a couple times, but not too many. But when we're working out, when we're practicing, it's intense all the time, making you stronger and making sure you're working better than your opponent, harder.
Well, if you'll listen to Coach Powell, you'll go a long way.
Yeah,
she has been there and done that, and Coach Mitchell will agree with me. Probably have never seen a better high school player in the state of Alabama.
No.
And her personality seems to be transforming into this team.
Yeah.
And
I hope.
Well, you got to work at it every day, of course.
No
and
doubt.
You can't get. How many have you won in a row now?
23.
23.
I know, right?
Pressure building a little bit.
Well, we get asked that a lot, and I guess we always say keep the streak, but it's not like if we ever get down, we don't like spaz out. We're like, oh my God, we can't lose it. But we it's just another game every time we play. It's not.
Well, that's a good
this
approach.
game's the 24th. It's this game we want to win, not keep.
Right.
I remember coming out of the game one night. This is when your dad played.
Oh yeah.
And we played really well. We're coming out of Fort Payne, Jim, and one of the Fort Payne fans, a real nice guy, said, "Coach," he said, "aren't you worried about your team peaking too early?" I said, "They're 17 years old. How can they peak too early?"
Yeah.
You know, you peak at 33, and I think that's really true. Your mother, you probably know what an athlete your dad was, but your mom was quite an athlete.
She reminds us quite often about her cheerleading skills. And I'm sure you remember about the flips.
Oh, I do. And I'm going to tell that now, as that she looks above me with daggers in her eyes. We were playing at in the finals of the county tournament, which was supposed to be here, but Valley Head decided they could make more money in that 4-bleacher gym, which is another story. and they would introduce our kids. And when one of the cheerleaders would do backflips all the way down the floor. And the old Valley Head floor was like playing on a trampoline, except it was wood. And it was this wonderful rhythm that you heard. And Scott Kirk, and you're dump, ba bump, ba bump, ba bump. And then Chris Gray, bump, ba bump, ba bump, ba bump. And then Jimmy Ford, bump, ba bump, ba and it was just this horrible crash. I thought somebody died, and it was your mom. Whose last flip
She
just
did
not
one
work.
too many flips.
But bless her heart.
Passed out cold.
You do something like that with me, it's a lifetime.
Yeah, you won't live it down.
No.
She can't even live it down in our household. So.
Well, tell me next year, what are your plans next year? You want to go to school and play, or you want to go to school? Period.
Well, unfortunately, as of right now, I think my athletic career is going to come to an end.
Okay.
I love sports with my whole heart. It's my life right now. I don't do anything but go to school and play sports. But I'm ready for something new, I think.
Yeah, colleges have great intramural programs.
Oh, yeah.
And they're fun to play. And
Yeah.
There's no coach over there.
Yeah.
And
usually no
refs.
Yeah, absolutely no refs. That's how I got through school, was through
Intramural.
Worked
That's how I
in
got my
intramurals.
broken nose.
Oh, yeah.
My boyfriend actually is over the intramural basketball at Northeast.
Well, yeah.
So I know that's a program
when I got out of school, I had 2 offers to go somewhere to do that. One of them was at the University of South Alabama. I thought, I'll never do this as long as I live. It was awful. But for the kids, for the players, it's great.
Yeah.
Now, tell me about your sister. What's her status?
Her status, well, right now, she is in her last year at Jacksonville State University. She is on her way to be a high school math teacher.
Math.
And praise Jesus, she's good at it, because that is not my blessing. And she has spent many hours in the dining room of our house teaching me how to do math.
Yeah.
And she is, I must say, she's got a gift for it. She's great.
Well, now that your dad owns the bank,
He does not.
She can give a better job to her because she can do good math. He says he doesn't own it and he can't lower my interest rates, but I think he does. He's just getting even with me for making him break.
Coach Mitchell's punishing him tonight. He won't wear his hat.
Yeah, he wouldn't lower my rates, so I wouldn't wear the cap. That's it. But I have to have some bribes.
Yeah, I'm very blessed with my family.
Oh,
We've
you
talked
are.
about
My
all
goodness.
of them. I love
wish
them.
if you could have got to have known your grandfather, W.D. Doyle Kirk.
Oh yeah, I've heard many stories.
Somebody needs to write a book. He is. I've got stories. The man could talk me into doing anything and did, but he was a great man. And your dad hung around a lot down there at the farm. So, but you're fortunate, and there's a lot of kids. The only family they have is basketball. And that's one of the reasons we keep playing. And I think we're fortunate on Sand Mountain that basketball is an extension of our family.
Oh yeah.
Instead of being.
There's no doubt my basketball team's my family.
Yeah.
We do everything together. Most of the time it's not by choice because we're at practice, but even after that, right now we all go prom dress shopping together. It's almost prom season. So
oh Lord.
we've been looking at
I hate
dresses and
prom.
painting our nails. We've all been painting our nails.
Well,
I mean, we're just like a whole bunch of sisters, and we fight like them too. But it's
Yeah.
always
your team will always be close.
Yeah,
if you do that. My team, like your dad's, is still real close, and they're friends forever.
Oh yeah.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you
And
for letting me. I enjoyed it.
We
appreciate so much.
really have enjoyed it. I love to watch y'all play.
Thank you very
and I
much.
hope you keep this up, and I hope we get to interview you after Jackson.
I
On your
hope you
way to
do too.
Birmingham.
I hope you
If,
do too.
I may
Thank
not
you.
be there. It makes me nervous.
All right, we're back again with the Butch and Terry Show, and we have a real special guest with us now, Coach Heather Mays Powell.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations, Coach.
Thank you. I appreciate it. We're just super proud of the girls and the effort they gave in the second half to come back and kind of had us on the ropes a little bit and some foul trouble, things like that. Weren't really doing what we wanted to do, letting them dictate really what was happening in the game, and went in, made a few adjustments, and I thought the girls really stepped up and did a good job.
They did an excellent job. we have talked to Lacey and
Okay.
Olivia.
Okay, all right.
We're not
So
gonna
you've
tell
been
you.
entertained.
We're not going to tell you all they said.
Yeah,
but,
please don't. I've
but-
got to go back to practice, with them.
But I told them, and that they seem to be taking on your personality when they get on the floor. Because I remember how hard you played.
Well, thank
And,
you. I appreciate it.
And they seem to be playing just as hard as they can play.
I'm really proud of the effort. At times I'm not so proud of some of the turnovers or some of the missed box outs, things like that. But I can't, hold them at fault for their effort. I really do think that they're playing hard. They're playing together. They're for each other. I see, right now we're 10 strong down that bench.
Right.
And, I think that we're kind of, that's one of our strongest points. One of our strongest attributes is that we really are pulling for each other and really getting tight as a team.
Well, that's one thing they were talking about. They have a starting 5, but they also have 5 more that come in and play just as good.
That's right.
In situations. So I've really enjoyed watching them now. I love to watch a team that gets after it.
Well, I like to have a team that gets
Yeah.
after it, or I have to get after them a little bit. But they've responded. And, we had Olivia come back from Westbrook. We had Kat Thompson move in from Fort Payne. We had a couple kids hurt in the summer that didn't get to go with us. So, starting out, we didn't know about that chemistry, because you kind of had here and there, that kind of thing. And are we used to playing together enough to have a good start, at the beginning.
Yeah.
And, we had to fill some things out and develop some roles and things like that. But those kids have come right in. And Kat Thompson said, whoa, after the first game or two, she said, this is fast. And I said, well, yeah. I said, but you know what? You're going to love it. And she does. She fits right in. She's just a great addition to the program. And obviously we're happy to have Olivia back. She was the MVP of the tournament. And Kat had a double-double tonight. I thought she had a great tournament. I was really impressed with the way she played, handled herself. She got a little bit of she tweaked her ankle last night. But, she was a trooper, back out, ready to go this morning at the shoot-around.
Well, Olivia, to me, makes your team go. She makes them better.
She's got an engine. She
Yeah.
has got a motor, doesn't
Yeah,
she?
she has. And if you're playing with her, you better be ready to play.
You better go because she's going.
Right.
That's right. You're right. Definitely a fun player to watch, from the stands, a fun player to coach. You have those things where, and I told my kids after the game, I said, listen, people come up to me and they say, well, great job, coach, great job. I said, guys, they're not talking to me. I said, they're talking about you, you know. And I said, for me to come in, I said, I know that you all had dreams and we've all come to the Civic Center. I remember watching Coach in the Civic Center when I was a little kid, coming to camp up here and stuff like that, and just thinking, boy, I can't wait to do this, And I said, you guys had those dreams when you were little.
Yeah.
And I said, and now you're fulfilling them. But I said, and I don't know why God has allowed me to be here with you. But I said, he's merciful and he's graceful. And I said, he offers it to me. And I said, for me to be here, this is my dream, to be with you guys and to be a part of something like this.
Well, with that said, I think this is going to be something special for you and for them.
It has been so far. I told him, I said, go home and enjoy it. Let everybody love on you. And I'm going to love on you a little bit, but we're going to go back to work on Monday. We've got work to be done, and I think we just can't lose focus.
How many more regular season games do you have?
That's a good question, Coach. Well, we've got 3 next week, and then we've got the makeup game against Pisgah. We got we thought it was bad weather or whatever. We've got 3 the next week, so we got 6. Yeah, we've got 6. We've got a tough schedule. We've got a tough schedule.
Well, you're starting into the last season.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
I always thought the season was divided into 4. For some reason, I just thought, of course, I don't know when you started coming to camps, but you were little, young,
I was.
and known it. And we got a new principal when we were coaching together, and the principal had called me in one day and wanted to know about Title IX and wanted to know about the practice. Said, who determines the practice? And I said, well, I don't know. He said, what do you mean you don't know? And I said, well, I start walking toward that new gym, and if Heather tells me I'm practicing at the Civic Center, I go down there. She tells me to come in here, I come in there. I guess she makes it out. So.
I guess she does. I guess we're okay. I don't know.
That's exactly how we coach together.
That was it. I mean, you were great to work with. It's just a good situation.
Yes, and I think it's still like that.
It is.
To be
Robbie's
able
awesome.
to love one another and be able to coexist
Yes.
in a positive way.
Yeah.
If your schools and teams don't do that, it's miserable. It's a miserable
It
situation.
is, and I think just just blessed. I remember being at Paul Bryant in Tuscaloosa and getting a call.
Dear
saying,
Lord, kill me.
Listen, getting that call that from Mr. Warren saying Tony Bell's taking a different job, and then I remember same night I think I got a call from you, and I thought, well, it's time to go home,
Yeah.
and it was, and this has just been an awesome ride, and I've had great people to work with. You were awesome to work with, and it was almost like working with, you don't have idols.
Father, I'm gonna hit you.
But no, I was about to say idol, coach. That's gonna be nice.
Idol, that's great.
I said, but we're not supposed to have idols.
I don't know,
But
just getting a little bit
listen,
deep.
listen, I know, and I got to work Mr. Cassidy for about a semester too. So these guys are great.
I told somebody one time I had the best girls coaching staff in America.
Oh,
I
gosh.
had you and Jana Simmons.
Well, Jana for sure. I don't know about me, and I was real green when I was over there, but
well, you did a great job,
well,
and Jana, I thought Jana
she's
did a
awesome.
great job
She
too.
does great, and she's still continuing
I
to
hate
do
to
that.
see her get out of
Yeah.
the coaching, but I understand with the family and everything.
It makes it hard,
Yeah.
and I think that's, I'm still in it. Sometimes people say, well, how in the world? How you do that? And I said, well, I think it's that I don't do it very well in any respect.
Yeah, you do.
So I've got a
I
great
think
family, great back.
I start to say you have such a wonderful support system.
Yes.
Yeah.
Raising 3 children, but you have a mom and dad and a
Yes.
husband that are right there. And
Yes.
that's the only way you can do it.
In-laws.
And-
I mean,
and,
it's a whole grandmas, great grandmas,
yeah,
all kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Sometimes maybe you or
Yeah,
somebody's
yeah,
grabbing
absolutely.
those kids while they're running around.
Well, most people don't realize for a coach to be successful, they have to have a good spouse
Yes.
to understand, because you're gone a lot. I
You
mean,
are.
you're spending a lot of your time with other kids,
You are.
and you have to have somebody to support you.
You do.
And like Coach Mitchell said, you've got a wonderful support system.
Well, I do, and they just really take them in, and it's like, I think they look at my dad. They call him Coach T, because I was amazed too when I first started this here. So they call him Coach T. And
Well, he does a great job. His daughter's the head coach, and he's supportive of it. It's like he knows you're the expert, and his job is that. I mean, that would
Wow.
be difficult.
he says he's a glorified towel boy, and I said, no, you need to back up. I thought you're one of the ones that has taught me what I do know. And
Well,
sometimes I'm not
he does
enough.
a
But
super job
Yeah.
about. I'm gonna tell you a story. I don't mean to make you cry.
oh,
Your,
Here,
your
I got a
grand-
clean
yeah,
handkerchief.
we're live, Coach.
your granddad was one of the best human beings, which you already know. He played in the finals of the county tournament one night, junior high, Grove Oak, Alabama.
Yes.
And the game ended on a controversial situation with Grove Oak winning. And the other fans were upset. The other coach was upset. And your granddad said, wait, we're not going to end the game like this. We're going to play it overtime. And they played an overtime, and Grove Oak lost.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know who won.
Yeah.
I can't remember
I don't know who the other team was.
who won, but I know the team that was the classiest that night.
Well, thank
And
you.
so you got pretty good genetic code
Yeah.
there going.
I
Wow.
told Heather this before. I went to Henniger, and Coach Bays was at Grove Oak, and I was just out of college. I didn't know what was going on. And Coach Bays just sort of took me under his wing, and boy, we had some battles now, Grove Oak and Henniger. And really, I thought that was for the NBA championship back then.
That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was so nice to me. I never will forget him for that.
Thank you.
Well,
I
you
appreciate
talking about
it.
somebody, if you played for Coach Mays at Grove Oak, now, buddy, that was the ultimate of those kids that played for him. They talk about him today, and he was great. When he started to retire, he just, in his meek way came to the coaching clinic and said, I'm not going to coach anymore. Y'all think I could host a county tournament? And it was unanimous. Well, yeah, Coach, you can host a county tournament. We'll play it anywhere you want to, We're all little kids. And,
Yes, sir.
Well,
yes,
now,
sir.
do y'all still have the family farm down
Yes,
there?
we do.
Okay.
We do. Of course, we're my dad and mom. They have part over here. My grandmother's still alive, and she has her part over there. We kind
Yeah.
of gravitate to that for most things, and then we live really close down there too. So it's it's kind of always been home. You know, Grove Oak's a special place, and I grew up there through elementary school, you know, and then moved on to Fife. So I was a Grove Oak girl, and had my dad coaching me down there, and my grandpa coming. You know, you talked about him, and they used to say when he coached, he would just ravel his socks, just unravel them, just pull at his socks all the time. My grandmother would just fuss and fuss. You know, she'd say, Luther, I can't even keep your socks, you know. And she'd just get so mad about it. And I said, and it was funny, you know, later on as he came to watch me play, and he got in bad health and wasn't able to really see as well.
Well, I know the last time I saw him, he was up here watching you coach.
Yeah.
And I think you or your mother one had to tell him who I was because he couldn't see well enough to tell.
His eyesight failed, and but you know he would laugh, and they would say, you know, how do you know which one she is? Because he'd say something about, well, I didn't like that, you know, something whatever I done, or you know, he was mostly praised. My dad was the one that we had to recap the game, you know, and so he does know he's more than a towel boy.
Yeah.
But anyway, he would say, well, I know by the way she runs. And I thought, wait a minute. I don't know if that's good or bad. You know, so I might not have been a great sprinter back in the day, but you know, he was just a huge influence in my life, and definitely the love of giving to others, the way that he gave his life, and to his ball boys, you know, his boys. He would always tell stories about his boys, you know, and you get that as a kid, you kind of think you understand, but then you have your girls, and you know, and I'll get teary if I start talking about them, and because they're just it's something special. It's just something special, and both of you know that, and they're always my girls. And I have had them walk in tonight before the game, and you know, punch me in the arm or coach, you know, from the stands, and you know, good luck tonight, that kind of thing. I'll be like, good luck charms here, you know, and it feels like home. It feels like my family, you know, and my kids have that. They say extended sister group that they have, and they just take them under their wing and hopefully, you know, show them how to act and in good and bad times both.
Now, you've been at Plainview 12 years, or is this 13?
That might be 13 now.
Good.
It's been a while.
I never thought about that.
When Heather, one of my former players is Heather's husband, and a lot of us at school here picked it out before they did, and
well,
so
some of you guys are a little smarter than we
Rita
are.
Barksdale, I would say, was the leader.
She may have been the ringleader,
but we all supported the idea. So one night after a girls' game, while the boys were still going, my daughter, nosiest woman in the world,
that is not
got
true.
a text,
She's so sweet.
Got a text, and she tells everybody down here, Heather and Luke are at Olive Garden in Huntsville.
And I think we got the back around on that. You know, everybody had been told it was out.
Everybody at the gym
you
knows
know.
it, but
we
it's
got
worked out
tickled.
pretty
Yeah,
good.
so
three beautiful kids.
We won't tell Luke because he might come hunt you down some nights. You know, it's a good thing if we had lost tonight, he might be like, "Who did this to me?" You know. So, but it is. He's great. You know, he's a Plainview guy, and that made it feel more like home even than it would have before. And just knowing. There's just great people here. It's a great atmosphere.
Well,
I feel just super blessed.
I'm proud you won tonight. I'm not superstitious, but there's no sense risking things. And I hadn't seen y'all play. So I just, then, you know, after it got up to 5, I thought,
you think I'm going to go out the back door.
And then
for
6, and then after it got to 10, I said, I ain't going.
Yeah.
And so we came tonight. I thought, if they lose, I'm a dead man, so I can come back. Ricky
so now you're okay.
One year we lost 5 games, and there's only 5 games Ricky Etherton saw. I said, I can tell you something, bud. If I'd known that, you might have saw 4, but you would never see 5.
You would not have seen the 5th one. That's right.
I look forward to the kids. I hope they and the coach enjoy the rest of the year. It's already special. Can't do nothing to harm it. Everything else is a bonus.
That's right.
So enjoy it. We love you.
Thank you. Love you guys. Thanks, Coach.
Congratulations.
Thanks, Coach. Thank you so much.
And good luck.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.